Number 1. The infamous thumbs up. Alright, let's kick this off with the OG of travel faux pas, the humble, seemingly innocent, thumbs up. Now back home, that's universal for awesome, good job, I approve, right? We use it for everything. Signaling to a friend across a noisy bar, telling the barista your coffee is perfect, or even just saying, hey, nice dog. Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because in Iran, giving someone a thumbs up is the equivalent of, and I'm going to put this delicately, telling them to go perform an anatomically impossible act on themselves. Yeah. It's like giving someone the middle finger, but with your entire hand. Seriously. It's one of the most common cultural misunderstandings for Western tourists in Iran. This isn't just an old wives' tale, it's a deeply ingrained historical insult. I remember this poor guy, Mark, from my travel group in Esfahan last year. He was trying to signal to a taxi driver that he was ready to go. So he gives this big, enthusiastic thumbs up, expecting a nod of understanding. Instead, the driver just glared, muttered something in Farsi, and drove off. Mark was baffled. He just stood there, thumb still proudly aloft, wondering what went wrong. We had to pull him aside, practically wrestle his thumb down, and explain that he'd just told the guy off. He was mortified. He swore he'd never thumbs up again, not even to his own reflection. The real-world consequence? A very awkward exchange and a missed taxi. Imagine trying to explain that to airport security if it were a bigger misunderstanding. So next time you're feeling good vibes in Iran, stick to a nod or a polite salam. Your social standing will thank you. Speaking of polite gestures, what if the very act of greeting someone, especially someone of the opposite sex, could land you in hot water? Because if a simple thumbs up can cause an international incident, wait until you hear what not knowing about gender interaction can do. This next one is a classic trip-up, and it's something we take for granted every single day. Stick around, because this is where things get genuinely fascinating. Number 2. Gender interaction and public affection. Let's talk about the invisible lines we draw around ourselves, especially when genders meet. In many parts of the world, a casual hug, a friendly handshake, or even holding hands with your partner in public is totally normal. But in Iran, you might as well be announcing your relationship status on a billboard with flashing neon lights. Iran, as an Islamic republic, has deeply rooted social norms around gender segregation and public interaction. It's not just a suggestion, it's a cultural pillar. Public displays of affection, even holding hands, between unmarried individuals are largely frowned upon. Between men and women who aren't immediate family, physical contact is generally avoided. Think of it less like don't make out in public, and more like don't even accidentally brush shoulders with someone you're not related to. It's like everyone has their own invisible force field, and crossing it can feel like a social zap. This isn't about being prudish, it's about respect and modesty, which are core values. I met a fantastic Iranian woman, Zara, who told me a story about her cousin, a young man named Amir. He had studied abroad in Italy, and when he came back, he instinctively went to shake hands with an older female colleague at a family gathering, a simple gesture of politeness he'd picked up. The air in the room just changed. It was subtle, but the older women exchanged glances, and his own mother gave him a look that could curdle milk. He quickly realized his mistake, apologizing profusely. It was a stark reminder that even well-meaning actions can have unintended real-world consequences when cultural contexts differ. For tourists, this means waiting for locals to initiate a handshake, especially with the opposite gender. Often, a polite nod or a hand-over-heart gesture is the most respectful approach. Remember, it's about fitting into their world, not expecting them to adapt to yours. So you've mastered the art of the non-contact greeting and kept your thumbs holstered. You're practically a ninja of Iranian etiquette. But what about the things you consume? Specifically, a certain liquid that lubricates many a social gathering back home. This next taboo is a real sobering thought, and it's enforced with no wiggle room. Get ready for a major shift in your beverage choices. Number 3. Alcohol. Alright, let's get straight to the point. Alcohol in Iran. If your travel fantasy involves sipping a cold beer by a historic mosque, or uncorking a bottle of Shiraz, the wine, not the city, although that would be equally problematic, then you need to hit the reset button on that dream. Because in Iran, alcohol is not just discouraged, it is strictly 100% prohibited. We're talking about a complete ban on the production, sale, and consumption of alcoholic beverages. This isn't just a suggestion, folks, It's a legal mandate based on Islamic law, Sharia. And they are very serious about it. You might think, oh, I'll just be discreet, maybe bring a flask. Let me stop you right there. Don't even think about it. Customs officials are incredibly vigilant. Getting caught with alcohol, even a small amount, can lead to confiscation, hefty fines, imprisonment, or even deportation. We're talking about serious real-world consequences that could ruin your trip and your record. My friend Sarah, who travels extensively for her job, told me about a harrowing experience a colleague of hers had. This guy, well-meaning but utterly clueless, thought he could sneak in a small bottle of duty-free whiskey. He declared it as mouthwash on his customs form. The agents, seasoned professionals, immediately flagged him. They opened the bottle, took one sniff, and the poor guy was pulled aside, interrogated for hours, and almost denied entry. He got off with a stern warning and the confiscation of his mouthwash, but it was a terrifying experience that cemented his understanding of Iranian law. He realized then that ignorance of the law is truly no excuse. So, what do you drink instead? Embrace the incredible tea culture. Iran's tea houses are vibrant social hubs. Try do, a savory yogurt drink, or the endless variety of fresh fruit juices. Fact, Iran boasts one of the highest per capita tea consumption rates in the world, and their non-alcoholic beers, often flavored with peach or lemon, are surprisingly good. This shift isn't a sacrifice, it's an opportunity to immerse yourself in authentic local experiences. So, you've mastered the art of sober socializing. Excellent. But now that we've cleared the air on beverages, let's talk about something equally fundamental to daily life, something you probably do without thinking. Because apparently, even the simple act of sitting can be a minefield. Prepare for a revelation about your feet. Yes, your feet. This one will have you rethinking your casual lounging. Number 4. Showing the soles of your feet. Okay, this one consistently catches people off guard because it's so unexpected. We're talking about the soles of your feet. Yes, your very own feet. In Iran, and many other parts of the Middle East, showing the soles of your feet to someone is considered highly disrespectful. It's essentially saying, you are lower than the dirt on my shoe. Not exactly the vibe you want to give off when you're trying to connect with friendly locals, right? Imagine you're chilling out in a traditional tea house, sprawled on a beautiful Persian rug, feeling all zen. You stretch your legs out, maybe even prop them up on a cushion, and suddenly, you're met with polite but unmistakable glares. You've just committed a major social gaffe. The same goes for sitting cross-legged where your soles are visible, or pointing your feet at someone during a conversation. It's a nonverbal cue that communicates extreme disdain. It harks back to ancient customs where footwear was seen as dirty, and the lowest part of the body, thus pointing it at someone meant you were equating them with something unclean or inferior. I remember my friend, David, a lovely British bloke, was visiting a family in Yazd. They had invited him for tea, and he was absolutely enchanted by their home. He sat down on the floor cushions, feeling comfortable, and without thinking, casually stretched his legs out, pointing his bare feet, he'd taken off his shoes at least, directly towards the eldest man in the room. The conversation just paused. The warmth in the room visibly cooled. His host, a gentle old man, subtly moved his own foot to block David's, a clear but silent signal. David picked up on the awkwardness immediately but couldn't pinpoint why. Later, his guide explained it, and David was absolutely mortified. He vowed to become a foot-tucking master for the rest of his trip. The real-world consequence here is alienation and a subtle but significant affront to your hosts. From your feet to your table manners, we're covering it all. You're becoming a pro at avoiding insults. But what about the ultimate act of respect or disrespect, when it comes to money, offers, and hospitality? Because in Iran, even the way you handle a simple transaction can speak volumes. And no, it's not about tipping. This next one is an intricate dance of politeness known as ta'aruf, and it will absolutely mess with your Western brain. Don't go anywhere, because understanding this is like unlocking a secret level of Iranian culture. Number 5. Reciprocal courtesy, TAROF. Get ready for ta'aruf. This isn't just a taboo, it's an art form, a social dance, a verbal ballet of politeness and ritualized humility that will make your Western brain feel like it's short-circuiting. Imagine you're at a shop, buying a souvenir. The shopkeeper tells you, "It's nothing, please take it." Or a taxi driver says, "No charge, it was a pleasure to serve you." Your immediate thought? Score. Free stuff. Wrong. So, incredibly, wonderfully wrong. Tarof, pronounced Tarof, is a deeply ingrained system of Iranian etiquette where people offer things they don't necessarily mean to give, and refuse things they actually want, all as a show of humility and respect. It's about politeness, generosity, and putting the other person's needs or desires before your own, even if it's just for show. The key is, you're often expected to insist back. Multiple times. Usually 3. It's like a polite game of ping pong where the ball is an offer, and the paddles are no please I insist. A perfect example, my friend Clara, was riding in a shared taxi in Tehran. When they reached her destination, the driver with a big smile waved her off saying, "It's nothing madam, you are our guest." Clara, who was already flustered from navigating traffic, beamed and started to get out. Before she could, another passenger, seeing her confusion, quickly whispered, "Tarof, Tarof. Pay him." Clara quickly pulled out the money, insisted several times, and the driver finally, graciously accepted. She learned then that if you take the first no at face value, you might just be seen as rude or taking advantage. The real-world consequence of not engaging in Tarof is that you might inadvertently insult someone by accepting their overly generous, but insincere offer, or seem ungrateful by not insisting when they genuinely want you to take something. Fact, this complex system isn't just about money. It extends to invitations, compliments, and even offers of help. Knowing when the no is genuine and when it's part of Tarof comes with practice. But a good rule of thumb is to politely insist at least 2 or 3 times before accepting or walking away. Most Iranians are incredibly understanding of foreigners' struggles with Tarof. You've just unlocked the hidden level of Iranian politeness. Fantastic. But what about something far more overt, something about your very hands? Because in Iran, even the way you extend a handshake or pick up an item speaks volumes, and one hand in particular is an absolute no-go. No, it's not about giving the finger again. This one is about purity and, well, less pure activities. You'll want to adjust your dominant hand for this next one. Number 6. Left hand for Unspoken tasks. Okay, let's talk hands. Specifically, your left hand. Now, for many of us, both hands are pretty much interchangeable, right? You pick things up, shake hands, high-five with either. But in Iran, and many other cultures influenced by Islamic traditions, your left hand is traditionally associated with unclean tasks. We're talking personal hygiene, and anything that's, well, let's just say, not for public consumption. So if you're offering someone something, a gift, money, food, or if you're shaking hands, or even if you're gesturing, you must use your right hand. Think about it. Accidentally reaching out with your left hand for a handshake is essentially like saying, "Hey, nice to meet you, here's my bathroom hand." Not exactly the smooth, charming diplomat you're trying to be, is it? It's a small detail, but it speaks volumes about your awareness and respect for their customs. I'm naturally left-handed, so this one was a massive mental reprogramming for me when I first started traveling in the Middle East. I was in a small tea shop in Shiraz, and the kind owner offered me a piece of gaz, a delicious Persian nougat. Without thinking, I reached out with my left hand. He just paused, looked at my hand, then politely picked up the gaz with his right hand and gently placed it in my right hand. It was a subtle, non-confrontational correction, but the message was crystal clear: wrong hand, buddy. It's a good reminder that even deeply ingrained habits need to be overridden when you're immersed in a new culture. The real-world consequence? While not usually leading to severe punishment, it can cause immediate discomfort, convey unintentional disrespect, and mark you as culturally insensitive. So you're a master of the right-hand greeting. You've navigated Tarof like a pro. But what about when someone is trying to show you respect, or perhaps, share their generosity? Because in Iran, even the act of receiving a gift comes with its own set of unwritten rules. And yes, you can definitely mess it up if you're too eager. Don't go anywhere, because the next taboo is all about manners, modesty, and the beautiful subtlety of Persian hospitality. Number 7. Opening gifts immediately. In many Western cultures, when you get a gift, you tear into it like a hungry squirrel finding its first acorn after winter, right? Oh, how exciting. What is it? Not so fast in Iran. Here's a subtle but significant one. It's generally considered impolite to immediately open a gift in front of the giver. The idea behind this cultural norm is that the act of giving is more important than the gift itself. Opening it immediately might imply you're more focused on the material item than on the thoughtful gesture and the relationship. It's a testament to the emphasis on humility and the bond between people. You accept the gift graciously, thank the person sincerely, and then typically, you set it aside. You can open it later in private, savoring the moment and appreciating the thought behind it without putting the giver on the spot. I heard a wonderful story from a fellow traveler about a young Iranian woman, Layla, who had gone above and beyond to help them navigate some tricky bus schedules. As a thank you, the traveler presented Layla with a small, beautifully packaged scarf from their home country. Layla accepted it with a radiant smile, placed her hand over her heart, and expressed deep gratitude, then gently laid the gift on a nearby table. The traveler, expecting her to rip into it with excitement, felt a tiny pang of awkwardness. Later, Layla explained with a chuckle, "Oh, I was so excited to see what it was. But it would be like showing off, you know? The gift is from your heart, and that is what I see first." It was such a beautiful insight into the depth of their customs. The real-world consequence of opening a gift immediately isn't usually severe, but it can subtly diminish the thoughtful gesture in the eyes of your host, making you appear unrefined or even greedy. So you've mastered the art of polite patience. Excellent. But what about the very words you use, the topics you choose? Because in Iran, even casual conversation has hidden depths, especially when it comes to certain, sensitive topics. And no, I'm not talking about debating the ending of the last blockbuster movie. This next taboo is about safeguarding your comfort and respecting crucial social boundaries. Number 8. Direct questions about women or politics. This one is absolutely crucial for your safety and comfort as a traveler in Iran. Direct questions, especially those delving into personal matters like the women in a family, or anything related to Iranian politics or government, are generally considered off-limits, particularly with strangers or new acquaintances. While Iranians are famously hospitable and often genuinely curious about foreigners, respecting these boundaries is key. It's like having that one relative at Thanksgiving who asks uncomfortable questions about your love life or your salary. In Iran, however, the stakes can be much higher. Discussions about the government, the supreme leader, or specific policies can be extremely sensitive topics, and you simply don't know who you're talking to or what their personal views or affiliations might be. It's not just about what you say, but how it might be perceived or worse, misconstrued. I heard a story recently from a journalist who visited Iran. He was in a bustling tea house, trying to engage locals in conversation, and he thought he was being open-minded by asking a vendor about the political climate. The vendor, initially friendly, immediately became guarded, his face stiffening. He politely but firmly changed the subject, directing the conversation to the quality of his spices. The journalist quickly realized his mistake. The real-world consequence here is that you could accidentally put yourself or the person you're speaking with in an uncomfortable or even risky situation. While you might mean no harm, opening such a topic, especially as a foreigner, can be perceived as probing, judgmental, or even a threat. Fact, in the current climate, as of mid-2025, with ongoing internal social shifts and external political pressures, discussions around these topics are particularly sensitive. It's always best to err on the side of polite general conversation. Stick to topics like travel, the beautiful Persian culture, delicious food, or local customs. If someone wants to share their personal views on these topics, they will, but wait for them to initiate. So you're now a master of discreet conversation. You're practically a silent film star of cultural etiquette. But what about the very foundation of society, the spiritual core that guides daily life? This next taboo dives deep into something profoundly personal and universally respected. And yes, you can absolutely, accidentally insult it without even knowing. This is about sacred spaces and the unspoken rules of reverence. Number 9. Disrespecting holy sites or religious practices. Iran is an Islamic republic, and reverence for religious sites, practices, and figures is not just a suggestion. It's a profound pillar of the culture. This isn't just about dressing modestly, which, by the way, is a non-negotiable for both men and women in public spaces, headscarves for women, long sleeves and pants for men. It's about your behavior within and around these sacred spaces. We're talking about basic, universal respect for places of worship. This means no loud talking, no inappropriate joking, no disruptive photography, especially flash, or during prayer times. And absolutely, always remove your shoes before entering any carpeted area, whether it's a mosque, a shrine, or even someone's home. These rules apply to everyone, not just Muslims. It's a simple sign of respect. Failure to do so is seen as highly disrespectful, akin to walking on someone's precious holy book. I remember visiting the Imam Mosque in Esfahan, one of the most breathtaking places I've ever seen. I saw a group of tourists, clearly excited by the stunning architecture, talking loudly and even attempting to take selfies with worshippers in the background. The local guides, while usually very tolerant, quickly but politely ushered them out. It was a stark reminder that while these places are open to visitors, they are first and foremost places of profound spiritual significance. The real-world consequence isn't usually legal action, but immediate admonishment, being asked to leave, and a lasting impression of disrespect that can sour cultural exchange. It fundamentally undermines the hospitality you're being shown. Fact, Iran has a rich history of religious coexistence, with protected minorities including Christians, Jews, and Zoroastrians. However, the dominant culture is Shia Islam, and understanding its principles of respect and modesty is vital for travelers. You've been incredibly respectful. You've walked the walk, talked the talk, and kept your feet hidden. You're practically an honorary Iranian. But what if you accidentally criticize the country itself? This final taboo is perhaps the most sensitive, the one with the biggest potential for misunderstanding, and it's something you absolutely need to be aware of for your own safety. Number 10. Criticizing the government or leadership. And finally, perhaps the most critical taboo, and one that carries the most significant real-world consequences: publicly criticizing the Iranian government or its supreme leadership. While Iranians themselves might have varying views and engage in discussions amongst themselves, often in private, trusted circles, as a foreigner, it is highly advisable to avoid any public or even casual criticism of the Iranian government, its policies, or its leaders. This isn't a political channel, and I'm not here to tell you what to think or to censor your opinions. But from a travel safety perspective, this is a firm, non-negotiable boundary. Voicing negative opinions, even in what you perceive as a private conversation, can lead to serious complications. The political climate, as of mid-2025, remains sensitive, with internal crackdowns on dissent often reported. As a foreigner, you are under intense scrutiny. What might be considered free speech in your home country can be interpreted as espionage, sedition, or undermining national security in Iran. This is not anecdotal, this is a hard fact. Governments around the world, including the US State Department, explicitly warn against travel to Iran due to risks of arbitrary arrest and wrongful detention, particularly for dual nationals or those with perceived connections to Western governments. These warnings underscore the very real dangers of crossing this line. We've seen tragic cases where individuals, often with innocent intentions, have faced lengthy detentions or even worse, because of misinterpreted actions or comments. The goal is to explore, to learn, to connect. So when it comes to the nation's politics, discretion isn't just the better part of valor, it's the smarter, safer part of travel. Enjoy the incredible culture, the unparalleled hospitality, and the stunning historical sites. But keep your opinions on sensitive political topics strictly to yourself. Phew. We just navigated a cultural minefield, didn't we? From the dreaded thumbs up to the subtle art of ta'aruf, the significance of your left hand, and the absolute no-go zones of political commentary. These aren't just arbitrary rules, they're vital threads in the rich, intricate, and ancient tapestry of Iranian culture. Understanding these taboos isn't about walking on eggshells, it's about walking with profound respect, opening doors to genuine connections, and experiencing the true unparalleled warmth of Persian hospitality. Because when you show you care enough to learn, you're not just a tourist, you're an honored guest. Just like our previous journeys to Morocco and Thailand taught us, every culture has its unspoken rules, and embracing them enriches your entire travel experience. So, what did you think? Which taboo surprised you the most? Did you relate to Mark's thumbs-up mishap or Clara's ta'aruf confusion? Let me know in the comments below. Your stories help all of us become better, more informed global travelers. If you found this deep dive into Iran's hidden rules even half as mind-blowing and helpful as I did making it, then you know what to do. Smash that like button, share this video with your travel buddies, and subscribe for more cultural deep dives into destinations you thought you knew. And definitely hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Because trust me, the world is full of hidden gems and even hiddener rules, and you're gonna want to know them all. Safe travels, stay culturally savvy, and remember, the best travel stories often begin when you step respectfully outside your comfort zone.